And welcome back once again to the Insider series. We're happy to say we're in session three, almost the midway point. And so far, we've got some astounding feedback and a great number of registrations from all of you. So thank you so much for being a part of this session as well. During these really challenging times for all of us as organizations, as individuals, Sandeep and I are definitely trying to take this initiative forward by providing some silver lining to you, some sort of understanding of this very complex situation, and give you some answers. Well, we don't claim to be experts, so we bring on the experts on this show. And we definitely get answers straight from the horse's mouth. So we've spread this entire Insider series across 6 sessions. We are in session 3 today. We invite industry experts who touch upon various matters that affect businesses. They come from various backgrounds. We have had people who've come from startups, media entertainment, digital marketing, health, holistic practices, leadership, content, and much more. So over the next few weeks, you will be catching us every Tuesday and every Friday. Today and the next session will be at 6 p.m. So you can tune in to us then. And you can catch more details about the Insider series and what we do at www.insiderseries.biz. That's biz. Just to introduce the two hosts today at your service, I'm Bhargavi Swami, CEO of Excel Corporation. We are a HR and content consulting company. I'm also a virtual HR evangelist for startups. And well, this is something I'm really proud of. I'm a podcaster of a show called People Who Matter, which works in the space of startups and entrepreneurs. I call myself a learner for life. And my co-host is Sandeep Pandit. He's the founder of Craftja. It's a creative experience marketing startup. It's focused on building intellectual properties, brand activations, and content creations for brands. Sandeep himself comes from a very strong background in marketing, brand building, innovative content creation, and so much more. So over to Sandeep now to tell you a little bit about the house rules and definitely invite our guest on board.
Okay. Thank you, Bhargavi, for the intro. So, again, we welcome all of you for a nice and stimulating evening, a discussion on the digital media, which is one of the much talked about topics, especially in the present times. So a few quick house rules. All of you can see a tab on your screens below. There's a tab called Ask a Question. So we would request all of you to please start as a discussion kind of starts off. So start posting your questions, what all questions you want to ask. And there's a very smart thing there. If somebody believes that the same question has been asked by somebody else, there is a vote tab. Just put a up vote there, and we will understand that this question has the most number of votes, and we'll take that question, in the beginning. Then there's a separate tab called as polls. It's a very interesting kind of an idea generation tab where we ask a simple question and we want to see where the audience goes. There are a couple of options given, so please choose your option, and our speaker would like to take some insights on that as well. So without further delay, let me invite Rahul on screen. And while he comes on screen, I'm going to do a bit of an introduction for him. Rahul is to me. I've known Rahul for 4.5 years now, and I remember. Let me start with a small story, a brief story. It was March 2015, and it was I had joined Radio Mirchi, and as per the company process, you have to do this induction process. You have to meet the leadership team, and I was supposed to meet Rahul that day, and the HR told me specifically that this is like the first session, so don't take too much of time, and he'll give you time later on. So don't get too excited. It's okay. So just introducing yourself and do that bit. I said okay. So I entered, and I remember the session was supposed to last for 15 minutes, and it lasted close to an hour or so, and that was the beginning of friendship, mentorship, or whatever you want to call it. And he's still I'm kind of keep disturbing him every now and then, and he is very gracious and very kind enough to give me time every time I come to him, and I look up to him for his mentorship. So 20 plus years of experience across global companies like Coca-Cola, Asian Paints, and now Radio Mirchi. He is doing a phenomenal digital transformation for Radio Mirchi. I've been a part of that journey personally. I have seen what all he has done, and I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways for all of you from this session. And so let's kickstart the session.
Yeah.
Hello, people. Well, happy to be here, and thanks for the lovely words, Sandeep. Um,
Okay.
yes, you were a big loss to Mirchi, is all I can say. So so happy to
So,
be here.
thank you, Rahul. Thank you for taking out your time and being here. So, let's start with a basic uh, question that we all are trying to figure out or answer is what is the current digital landscape in India looking like, and you have done a lot transformation for Mirchi as well. So if you can take us through that journey and then kind of connect it to what is happening right now and what are the steps for us, or what is the kind of takeaway from for us for today's present challenges through that.
Okay, so what's happening is that we are all on calls like these through the day.
Yes. Yeah.
This is how our life is. We are all learning this whole concept of working from home. All of us are. We've become chefs in our homes, and we've become cleaners, and we've become things that these are all part of our official job descriptions now. There is no, if
Yes.
there was a time when we thought there was a work life balance, then those times are gone. Now there is one life, and this is how it is. And in the middle of a call, there'll be somebody's kid who will come in the middle of the call, and that's all fair. There'll be a dog which will need attention, and that's okay. So we are all getting used to this. uh, so I think there is a we've been hit by something which we don't know the shape of or the size of, and I think everybody is kind of reeling under the shock of it, the shock and awe of it. And I think only now that everybody is kind of coming to grips with the reality that this might be how things might be for a while. They may not just disappear very soon. So we'll have to kind of gather ourselves and get used to this. So as you would know, the general situation of business out there is not great. Whether it is the traditional media business, whether it is manufacturing business, whether it is retail business, even digital business. While there is a consumption of information and entertainment which may have gone up, but there are less advertisers out there. Even advertisers were a little circumspect in in terms of whether this is a great whether it is a is it the right time for them to advertise as well. So revenue streams for everybody are under tremendous pressure. um, and I think the first wave of the shock is over. I think now we are into the second wave, and hopefully people will be able to kind of gather themselves a little together better, and maybe we'll be able to figure our way out of this. I think it's a, as I say, it's a new normal. The rules are not very clear yet, so we still don't know. As a media company, we ourselves are under tremendous pressure.
Right.
As I said, what usually happens with most digital businesses, which are, let's say, in the publishing side of it, or even broadcasters or content sort of creators, our ecosystem is entirely driven by advertising led sort of business models. Subscription led business models are there, but they are not as popular, or they're not as scaled up. So advertising led business models are all under pressure. But the good thing is that some of the digital transformation that chief digital officers couldn't do, and the CEOs couldn't do, and government couldn't do, one virus came and did. So they are, so it's the big catalyst of digital transformation for the whole world. So suddenly, we have situations where we are not shy of working out to a screen and Insta live video of your yoga teacher and your Zumba teacher and whatever.
Yeah.
Kids education has gone online, and
Yeah.
everybody's become expert in terms of how to integrate technology in their life. My mother figured WhatsApp video calling today. So, I mean, I think it's a big achievement of mankind. We've made a big progress today. It was a day of breakthrough. so, so I think, so yeah, so we are kind of coming to grips with it. There is a big fundamental shift which will happen in the way people relate to technology, they relate to content, and we'll have
Yeah.
to kind of adjust to that. So I mean, everything has changed. I mean, if I were to say what is incrementally changed, there is nothing incremental. Everything is just drastically different. Um, so that's where we are. The great unknown.
Great unknown. I like the way you put that. When you say the great unknown, it really sounds like one of those mystery novels which we are recommended by book clubs to read now during this lockdown, or one of those
It is.
sci-fi or sci-fi movies you're trying to
Oh
watch and
yeah,
trying to make sense of, right?
see, I think it's quite exciting in a way because you can reinvent your job, you can reinvent the work you
Yes,
do, you can reinvent everything. Your business model has to be reinvented
Exactly.
completely. So
absolutely.
either
There was
I'm,
uh,
yeah,
when you're talking about reinvention, I had to mention something really fun here. When you said somebody invented, their job profile. So I don't know if you've seen this YouTube video. It's called "How to Make Food with Leftovers." That's officially the channel with the maximum hits right now. How do you cook
yeah,
with
I can
leftovers?
understand. Correct. So I
So
think
digital
everybody's become a
media
chef.
is absolutely. There's like no boundaries anymore. There's no limits
Yeah,
to
yeah,
who you can be, what you
true,
can do. If you have an idea, I think you
true.
can just put it out there and probably get a following out of it. So
Yeah.
yes, Rahul, that's really interesting. And talking about reinvention, I think the audio media really underwent a reinvention even before the COVID struck. I think audio has been trying to always survive just beyond radio. And since you come from a radio business, I thought this is a very pertinent question for someone like you, because you are coming from the synergy of audio meets digital, and with the multiple platforms which are now available for audio being available, you have the podcasting space, you have indie space, you have SoundCloud, you have so many other platforms where people are putting out content very innovatively, whether it's an audio book, whether it's an audio documentary like a documentary, or the podcasting space. So how do you think this medium now is going to either surge or dip during this COVID and post-COVID crisis? And how do you see this particular space evolve while going ahead?
Okay, so I think I wasn't very sure whether India is going to take to the audio podcasting and audio books kind of an environment. We are, uh, see, if you really look at the trajectory of how podcasting came into being, right? It started with an iPod. There was a time when it
Yes,
was the iPod, and they
yes,
created this whole format of what is a podcast. It's a
correct,
fairly primitive sort of a
right,
platform and a technology, actually. It just so happens that it sometimes fits with your lifestyle. You're driving, you're traveling, and you can't
very
see a
true.
video if you're driving, so you
Yes,
can listen to it. So it seems
right,
to fit into a sort of a very specific, lifestyle. But given a choice, a consumer would probably want to see something, see a video rather than just hear something. So that was
right.
like that's where the world is gone. I think so. While podcasts have had a international revival of some sort on the back of a
Yeah,
couple of large stories and hits, uh, this might this might be the second revival, really, because
right.
how much of television are you really going to watch? How much of video content are you really
Absolutely.
going to consume?
Absolutely.
If you are Yeah, and if you're going to be faced with more episodes of lockdown, which is what is expected, so this
Yes.
lockdown may not be one off. We might
Yes.
be faced with multiple of these lockdowns. They might carry on for a year and even longer, is what they're saying.
Sure.
The
Yes.
word they're using is hammer and dance. They're saying they'll open the dance floor a little, people come on it tentatively, and then they see the cases spike, and then they shut
Yes.
everything down, and then so they'll have to do it in phases like that. So
Right.
we'll kind of get used to working from home, working on our own, not working in teams, collaborating, virtually and things
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
In some of these environments, I think the requirement for multiple formats of entertainment is definitely going to go up.
Right.
Video is going to kind of reach its limit of how much your eyes can take. It's not going to be limited by how much content is available, but you
Right.
just can't be sitting in front of the TV all the time.
Right.
So, so I think this is when I think the environment is fantastic for the takeoff of audio products.
Right.
From a podcasting and a more evolved user point of view, from a Mirchi's own experience, we obviously are in the audio business, or traditionally we've been in the audio business. For us, radio is the theater of the mind. We can create
Yes.
concepts and ideas in your mind using your imagination and our
Yes.
sounds and our voices and things like that. So for us, it has had that sort of a romantic appeal to it. But Radio Mirchi itself has also changed quite a bit. So today we reach as many people through our video content
Right.
and on social media as we reach through FM. So we have almost doubled our entire reach. So we are Mirchi. We are not Radio Mirchi. We are Mirchi. So we have a Mirchi. We have a Filmy Mirchi video channel. Let's say on YouTube. We are Radio Mirchi on FM. So we are a bunch of things. In addition, so just to make a point that we've gone beyond just audio as well.
Right.
We are into videos. Specifically, when we talk about audio, there are a bunch of things that we have done in trying to reach a very interesting audience, which is, let's say, in the media dark markets
Yeah.
through voice solutions. And think of them as 10-minute podcasts that we are creating for rural markets.
Right.
And these are, it's a very different way of operating. It is not the fancy digitally fancy productions for digitally savvy people. It is an audio production for people in the media dark markets where entertainment options may actually be limited.
Very limited.
So so it's an interesting sort of a mix of stuff that we've tried, and so yeah, it's interesting. So interesting times ahead for us and for anybody in the content business. Audio, as I said, I expect fairly big revival in the audio consumption as well.
Absolutely.
So, Rahul, taking it from there, I mean, you have seen there are, I mean, because I have worked in the same space, and so as the BTL piece is completely off, and I mean, typically ATL is also off. Now the digital has become the mainstream media for all the brands,
Yes.
at least for some time, till come back to normal. So, especially from a intellectual property point of view, where we see there are a lot of people who are in the creating zone of intellectual properties, who are in the creation of it. Suddenly, the whole shift has changed now. The whole idea used to be getting so many people on ground, and that used to be the number that it used to create a property for them. Now, that is not going to happen for a long time. How do
Yeah.
you see that business changing there? Do you really see that digital creating that kind of platform and experience? I mean, experience is the key here, because what you get on ground is not possible on a digital platform. So how do we?
See what you're
How do
saying. Yeah. See, there is a problem, and the problem that you're talking about is actually, how do you? It's basically the valuation of digital inventory. The digital inventory has almost zero value. It is almost free. There is so much supply of banners. There's so much supply of web pages. There's so much supply of Facebook access, etc., for advertisers that any particular publisher is not able to really, monetize his reach, uh, because the pricing is forever only plummeting. It's not going up. It's only going to come down. And in the entire business, there are two or three key publishers, key platforms which are really sucking away all the money. So there is a Facebook, there is a Google, and there are a couple of others. So from an advertising point of view, the value of inventory is very low. Uh, the and so hence, if you, for example, were to get the same 10,000 people on ground, the kind of valuation that you're able to generate for your event is order of magnitude of 10,000 times more than the value of the same people
right?
if you were to reach digitally. So on digital, if you are let's say less than a few million people, it's not really going to count for anything. And millions are, again, nobody really bats an eyelid. Actually, the problem on digital has been that we have only looked at one dimension of digital inventory, and that has, I think, screwed things a little bit for the entire medium, which is based on reach. how many impressions did you get, how many people have you reached, how far did your communication reach. But the real challenge is how many people did it engage, and that's where most digital campaigns will run into a problem. I think this is an insight which a lot of even marketeers and brand managers need to kind of start understanding. So, for example, we would go to a brand manager and a marketing guy, and he says, "Oh, our video campaign did beautifully." I said, "Okay, great. So, we would really love to see what you guys did." So, our video, we put it out on YouTube. It's got 10 million views, and we did 3 of them. They did so well. I said, "Oh, 10 million is a great number. So, let's go to the video. Let's see what the video is." So, we see the video, there are 10 million views. There are 200 upvotes, and there are 3 comments below it, and there are 10 million views. And I am looking at the media buyer and I'm saying, do you see a problem here?
Yeah.
You have shoved this ad in the face of every guy who's come on YouTube as a non-skippable ad, probably. He hates your brand. There are 100 people who have kind of upvoted. There are 3 comments below it, and nobody really cares about your ad. So for you to say your content has worked is terrible. And
Right.
obviously, for a content like this is commodity. This is pure commoditization. I can get this view on junk, but if I had to get a communication out there on which there are going to be a certain number of people who will like, comment, or share, who will actually engage with that content is worth its weight in gold. But unfortunately, we have to kind of start having those conversations with the marketeers. We have to start having those conversations with, with brands. They need to start seeing the value of that. And actually, Sandeep, to your point, the value of the on-ground event is that, right? You are able to actually create those moments of brand experiences, that engagement that you're able to create on ground. Even though the number may be a few thousand, but those few thousand actually will translate into something for the brand. Millions of views and impressions of a banner campaign or a pre-roll on a video may not, but a few thousand views which are really meaningful, which made a difference to my life, can make a big difference.
Right.
So this whole game of this reach versus engagement is really something that we all have to be very, very sensitive about, and we have to really go down that path. A lot of our conversations with the brands is on the same line, saying, listen, we are here in the business of creating content, and my job is to actually give you engagement. Reach, I can buy, you can buy, there's no problem. Reach is a commodity. For somebody to say, I'm able to target people so well on digital and all of that. Yeah, great. You can target me, and I get targeted all the time. My timeline is full of things I don't want to buy. So somebody thinks I am their target, but I'm not interested in anything.
Right.
So what's the point of that? I'm not engaged with it, and it's true with everybody, right? So there is this whole gap between saying I'm going to shove something in your face, get you your reach number, and that's what digital is. Hey, come on, that's not even half the story. So so we have to learn to value engagement, and when we learn to value that, then Sandeep, your point of saying, okay, I'm going to get you 50,000 people who will engage with the content, but it's a content of value to you. If today I'm going to create content for Mercedes-Benz and I get the right 25,000 people to come and consume the content, my job is done, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to give them 25 million views. What's the point of that? It's not as if they sell so many cars in this country in 1 year. So it depends. It depends on the kind of brand it is, the kind of marketing objective that it is. So I think that leap still has to happen. We are still in this world of millions and billions and CPMs.
Reach and impressions.
Reach and impressions. It's going to change. It will change from this point onwards, because content creators who had an alternative business model don't have it now. They are going to be more demanding. They are going to come back to aggregators and say, listen, you have to pay for this content now. Till now, I was just seeing this as a reach game. Now it's not going to be a reach game. You have to pay for engagement. So I think that's where it's going to go. I think everybody will learn this, and so let's see how soon.
I guess in a way, Rahul, what you're saying is maybe the content industry itself will probably get distilled from just being a number and a visual game than actual meaningful content which represents the brand and engages with the kind of audience that they have. So this distilling process probably was a long coming, and through this particular situation, it's just automatically happened, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So, so for example, I have this yoga teacher, right? So I used to go to his yoga shala. Really cool guy. He could do maybe 10 people at a certain point in time, and he's giving you personal attention, and he's doing it. Now everything shut down. He's gone on
Right.
Instagram. Now there are
Yeah.
200 people attending his session
Correct.
at any point in time, and it is after the third day it is the new normal. So it doesn't matter whether I'm doing it remotely and he's giving these instructions remotely, or I was in a shala, it doesn't matter. And on the
Correct.
third week he's gotten wiser. In the third week he's gotten wiser. He's saying, okay, I gave you 21 days of free sessions. From
Yeah.
now onwards my account is going to go private. This is my bank account number, you pay, and you are welcome to
then
attend my
link will be
private
below.
account. And I was like, that's nice. You know, there is value to what he's
Yes.
doing and he's bringing to my life.
Correct.
Till
Correct.
now I had no value. It was freely available to me, but I want his access. Then
Correct.
it's worth it. I think these barriers that we had of, you know, we can pay for physical goods, but we have hesitation in paying for digital goods.
Very
That
true.
barrier is
Very
really
true.
going to break down. It's really going to break down, and I think this is the time when it's going to happen.
Absolutely. That's true. So I think there was another thing whenever we talk about digital and the telecom sector kind of go hand in hand in terms of, can the telecom sector suddenly support so many people working from home? Can they support so many Wi-Fi connections and internet connections? That's another big pain point in India, which is getting exposed like
Yeah,
how. So how do you
yeah,
combat
it
with
is.
that? That's something that you all have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I was reading somewhere, I think the average bandwidth in India has dropped a little. You know,
Yes.
there is the general data consumption has gone up, not by a
Yes.
lot. I expected it to go up by a lot, but it's probably in the range of about 20 odd percent, 10% to 20 odd percent in terms of overall data consumption. So it's not as
Overall.
if it's gone through the roof yet. Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
that's what it seems like. So it's not as if we've reached any limits of capacity or anything like that. But
True.
that's a temporary thing. I mean, it's a matter of scaling up infrastructure. If this is how the world is going to be,
True.
you know, we'll find ways to set up more servers. Find more ways to increase bandwidth. I don't think that is really going to be an issue. I
Yeah.
think this is uh, demonetization taught us one level of, you know,
Yes.
cashless transaction. This
Yeah.
lockdown is going to, you know, change our relationship to technology at a much deeper level.
Yes.
I think we
Absolutely.
need a setback every time to kind of adapt. So this is it. This is the big sort of transition moment for inflection point for digital takeoff, I guess.
Very true. Very
So,
true.
so Rahul, slightly moving away from the topic of digital, I'm coming to a very generic subject matter, which is with respect to the current leadership. I mean, every leader is facing a challenge right now, managing probably a company or a team or whatever it is, and especially the senior leadership team, the senior management team. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on what kind of, because I have personally you know learned a lot from you in terms of how you lead the team and how you manage a team. So what are your thoughts on the current situation, because there's a lot of mental anxiety
Yeah.
which is kind of looped into it. It is not the economy is doing very good and somebody has to look for a job, another job. The
Yeah.
entire thing is shut down. So how does the role of a leader change here given the situation?
Yeah, you're right. So, you know, our models of leadership are borrowed from the army. We are a leader. We know what to tell our troops. We have a rigid command system, and in some organizations, we have kind of tried to, you know, the sales pitch to most companies are, we are a hierarchy-less company. We will listen to our
Right.
employees, but fundamentally, there are hierarchies. There
Right.
is this whole command and control system. There is a chain of command. All of this is there, right? Now,
Now,
this works as a There's an echo. Just hang on one second. Okay, so this works in an environment which is stable. This works in an environment which is predictable. But the moment you walk into an environment where you don't have a model to work with, you don't know what to expect, you don't have an expert, you became a boss, you became a leader, you became a business head because you went up the ranks, you learned the business, and hopefully you know the nuances of the business. But today you're in an environment where you are a novice yourself. You don't know how to respond to a situation. You don't know which product is going to work. You don't know what the situation on ground is, and it has changed so fast. So the model of leadership of this guy who knows everything is gone. The alpha, macho, aggressive leader, alpha male, it's just not going to work anymore. Your leadership today is the guy who can learn to listen. He's the guy or the girl or the person who has the ability to assimilate ideas, be open mentally, emotionally, to listening, to working with the team, because the ability to process information has to be at a different level. So I think the strain on the leadership is going to be tremendous. These are new skills. As I said, there was a skill of decisive leader. There's no decisive leader anymore. Your decision, if you are Donald Trump and you have an idea that this is what is going to save America, that one guy is going to make or destroy the entire country. It's that sensitive. Today, the leadership in every company, every manager today is about to take those calls. Will my business survive? Should I prepare for the worst in terms of a lockdown, or should I prepare for a time when business is going to take off? Should I adapt and use my resources in ways that I can create innovative solutions, or should I just shrink my business to fit what the opportunity is? And it's going to have tremendous impact on the teams that we have. It's going to have tremendous impact on the businesses, on our salaries, on everything. So the kind of person who's going to really succeed in this environment is, it's a different, it's a mindset of a beginner. It's a mindset of a guy who's self-assured, a guy who can go beyond his ego, a guy who's willing to listen to information and inputs with no biases of his own. I think there is going to be a challenge in the way I think most business heads, most business leaders, entrepreneurs, how they have to respond to the situation. As I said, when you walk into an unknown, you can't go with preconceived ideas. And if you can't go in with preconceived ideas, your expertise has zero value. The only thing which has a value is how you tackle a problem in general. What's your strategy in thinking? How do you think? That's your skill. How do you analyze a problem? Now problems are going to keep changing. How do you analyze it? You're going to have teams which are going to be really nervous, stressed, but at the same time you will want to get the best out of them. So you have to play both the parts, the motivation part and getting the work done at the same time. So this is not an easy time to be a boss. It's not an easy time to be a leader. It's not an easy time to take those calls, because you need to save your business, you need to take care of your employees, but you also need to grow your business. You have to achieve your goals, you have to achieve your objectives. It's a tough piece, it's a tough call, and I think it will come down to a lot of who we are as people. It's about what our personal belief system is, what our personal training is, what our mental makeup is, what our emotional makeup is. I think it'll really come down to those basics. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how all of us respond to it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Bhargavi, we have a few
questions.
So,
yes.
So let's take some few questions. We request the audience members if they can start posting questions if they have any. So let's start the answering. Rahul, can you see a tab below your screen?
It's called Ask I can see. The first question is by Mansi. Yeah. She's saying,
yes,
what is the power of digital marketing for a brand today? Okay, so power of digital marketing. Well, there is no more a distinction between mediums anymore. I think I don't think there
Yeah.
is a time. We are seamlessly consuming content across devices. We don't make a distinction where you're consuming content, right? It's your mobile phone, is it your television, is it your
Right.
tablet, is it your laptop? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. There is a whole world which changes. There is a digital expert who's expert at websites, and he's going to optimize his website because you're going to consume stuff on the website. But as a user, you really don't care, right?
Yeah.
So I think for a brand, it's going to be a seamless sort of a conversation as well. So I think it's going to be it's going to be the kind of conversation that we would probably have about electricity at one time. What are the, how best to use electricity, how best to use internet, how best to use mobile, how best to use digital marketing. It is what marketing is going to be. It is going to be, today we are looking at what percentage of your advertising is coming from digital and what percentage is coming from traditional. uh,
Yeah.
it's these are signs of a still to mature industry. But give it another year, another 2 years, there is not going to be this distinction. There will be no chief digital officers. There will be no digital specialists in that sense, because you're going to be expected to be the digital specialist.
Expert.
If you are in
Yeah.
marketing, you will be expected to know how to engage with social media, consumers on social media, and how to engage your brand with them. Your understanding of see, we are all coming from we've been thoroughbred in the traditional marketing sort of a thinking paradigm, and the only difference between a digital and a traditional thinking paradigm is the sensitivity that we have for the end user. Just the sensitivity. They both talk about the
Right.
end user, but the sensitivity of the guy who's on digital is order of magnitude higher than on the traditional media, because the guy on digital knows the day his creative hits the social media, there's going to be either people are going to love it, or they're going to hate it, or they're going to ignore it. It's not as if he can just pat himself on the back and say, oh, I did such a great creative, which maybe in traditional marketing days you could do it. You can't say that
Right.
anymore. People will
Right.
call your bullshit out. And so you better learn the trade. You better learn how best to use each platform for its strength. So how you use social media, you got to know this. How are you going to do remarketing? How are you going to find the right TG for the kind of communication that you're going to put out? Uh, what power of mass media how to exploit that, because there is power in it.
Right.
Even though it may sound as if in this world of digital the measurability of a traditional media is poor, but it's not poor. Actually, it is actually we still have to see any large brands which have been built on the back of pure digital campaigns. Very few.
Right.
Most of our
Right.
brands are built on the back of very large traditional
Right.
campaigns, with multiple touch points. And using traditional media in a huge way. uh, so it's going to be a seamless sort of a campaign. Today when we go to a brand as radio, okay, as Mirchi, we have stopped having conversations about radio with them. Our
Right.
conversations are on solutions. We say, okay, tell me your business problem, and if that business
And
problem I can
we
solve through a video that my RJs make, if I can solve that through an event on ground, if I can solve it through a radio campaign that I run for you, then I'll give you that solution. If I have to use social media influencers to deliver that campaign, that's what we will do. If we have to collaborate with third-party content creators, platforms, we are going to do that for you. So, so brands' communications and their engagement with us, that itself is telling us that this distinction of, is there digital marketing versus traditional marketing, I think those things are going away. There's one consumer, he consumes 5 different things, so we've got to be there everywhere and do the appropriate thing for that medium.
okay.
Very, very rightly said. Taking you to question number 2, I think it specifically talks about
Okay.
Radio Mirchi, and what kind of response have you all been receiving in your digital streaming platforms, and how do you plan to enhance your digital services?
Okay, so just quick overview what all we are doing in digital streaming. We have about 13 YouTube channels. Across
Okay.
our 13 YouTube channels, we have India's biggest
Mm,
Bollywood and independent Bollywood YouTube channel called Filmi Mirchi. We have just launched something called Scribbled, which is a poetry channel and a spoken word channel.
nice.
We have
Yeah.
a regional language. We have regional language channels in every language of India. So there's a Mirchi Tamil, Mirchi Telugu, Mirchi Malayalam. Some of them, and all of them are at different levels of maturity. That's one part of what we do beyond radio. The other part we do is we have a collaboration with Ghana. So if you go to
Hmm.
Ghana and you see the radio section, with that you'll see
Right.
Mirchi Play. So we are
Okay.
streaming about 35 odd radio stations on it, of which only 6 are FM.
Hmm.
So the remaining 28, 29 stations that we have, these are all niche of music, of Bollywood, of an interest group, of a TG. So
Understood.
you'll go there and you'll find an audience, a station only for independent music called Mirchi Indies,
Nice.
or only Mirchi 90s, which is only about 90s, or Hindi retro music, only retro, and these are all radio stations. These are not playlists. These
Interesting.
are fully managed radio stations. In and other than these two things, as I told you, we are creating a lot of audio content for brands which are going into media dark markets as well. We are doing bunch of things on content. So just to specifically answer your question, uh, for us, we have stopped seeing ourselves as radio.
Right.
For us, our future growth is going to come from being content centric, from being creating content solutions for brands, for creating content for consumers. Um, so, and, and we have grown tremendously in the last, let's say, 3 or 4 years. Today, we reach about 50 million people uh, on our digital platforms. We have our reach across all our platforms is about 50 million, and the reach of radio
Amazing.
itself is about 45 odd million. So we
Right.
on digital platforms, we've seen a tremendous
Good.
growth. So I
Right.
think it's a huge transformation story for Radio Mirchi. Our what we used to call RJs, our RJs are not RJs anymore. We call them influencers, and we have
Right.
150
Yes.
influencers across the country today.
Right.
And so today everybody is locked down, but if you go to our social media page, you are going to see all of them doing Facebook lives, all of them are on
Correct.
Insta lives, all of them are engaging with their audience, doing all sorts of stuff. So their connection with their listeners has not gone away.
Correct.
Radio even if radio could be the weak link, they found their connection
Yes.
through other mediums as well.
Correct.
So it's a natural transition actually for us. It's not as if it's a massive transformation. We've been at it at a while.
Sure.
We've gone where the consumer is. We have connected
Right.
with him on their terms,
Right.
and that's how it happens. So when some company says I'm going to undergo a massive transformation exercise, there's a problem there as well, because that meant you've been stuck in time for a long time and now it's time to change. The
Right.
best transformations are when you don't have to talk about transformation. You are adapting
Yes.
constantly, you're constantly listening, you're constantly doing stuff, and before you know,
Yes.
you're a different company.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's how it should be.
That's interesting, the journey of
Okay.
how Mirshi's done it. Question 3 is also connected to something I wanted to ask you. So I guess the next one was, is it good to wait and watch a few months before we plan for digital marketing? I also think this is coming from an entrepreneurial background, because as entrepreneurs, as startups specifically, you're multitasking
Yeah.
everything, right? From heading your teams and, being their psychologist. And I mean, especially at this point of time, you're also their coach, you're also the digital marketing expert, the branding expert, PR expert, everything rolled into one. So when
Yeah,
the
yeah.
budgets are shrinking and the investor is sitting on your head asking you not to do any non-essential spends, in this situation, how does one plan digital marketing as such? What would your advice be?
See, again, because there is not one solution for everybody. Everybody's in a different boat.
Sure.
But this is what we all need to know. This is not going to change.
Right.
If this is how your life is going to be forever, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait? Are you going to wait
Yeah.
for the lockdown to get over? It's not going to get over. Are you
Correct.
going to wait for your innovation to roll out? Are you going to wait for your product? Uh, are you going to wait for your product to hit the shelves? Are you going to wait for your you're going to find a way to reach your product to the consumer somehow or the other. Given the situation that you're in, your distribution channel will change. Something about your product will change. How your product is consumed may have to change.
Right.
But you cannot wait beyond a point. You cannot wait
Correct.
for that golden day when the lockdown is going to get over. There was a phase when we were thinking like that, but
Yeah.
as of
Yes.
I think last week, I don't see that
Yes.
happening, and you have to very quickly get into a mode of action. All of us have to get into a mode of action. We have to do what we have to do. That marketing campaign has to roll out. That engagement with your consumer has to happen today. Your consumers have not connected with your brand in a long time.
Right.
There was a time when brands were thinking whether is this a great environment to even have a conversation, because
Right.
everybody's nervous, situation is grim, it's almost like a disaster which has hit us. In the middle of disaster, should we be advertising? But you know what, people have now gone past it. It's okay to now talk about the lockdown. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to present a picture of normality to your consumers. So
Right.
it's fine. So again, it depends. If you're really strapped for cash, you have to really cut something down. You're a mature business and you are not nimble on your feet and you can't reinvent yourself. Yes, you may want to wait it out a little bit more. Wait for 3rd May, sorry, whenever that next
The next
round of
announcement.
opening up happens, hopefully. And I'm not sure whether it
Right.
will happen in the scale at which we're thinking.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can wait any longer. I think it's time has come to take action. All of us have to start taking action. We have to now start preparing for the moment when everything opens up.
Right.
Now what happens
Right.
when things open up? There is going to be all the money which is waiting to start communicating with your consumers, which is going to go out. There's going to be a glut. There is going to be an over communication suddenly to all the
Okay.
consumers. You are going to
Right.
completely get
Yes.
lost there. If today is the time when you still want to remind your consumers of your relationship with the brand, maybe it's a great time to do it now.
Right.
You are not going to go away. It's an ongoing enterprise. You're not shutting your business. You
Right.
want to stay relevant in their lives. Okay, take the long view on this. Take a long view. Do something. Stay relevant in their lives in some form or the other. Don't just disappear from their lives. If you disappear from their lives, when things get better, you may not have a story as well.
Right. Absolutely. I think stay relevant. That's really the catchphrase here. And such timely advice because, like you rightly said, this might be the new normal. We might be in this kind of an extended situation for the next God knows how many months. And like
So you have to
said,
act accordingly.
yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there's no postponing anymore. I mean, people are now starting to get married on Zoom, so stop the postponement. You have to live now, man. Just go take your subscription of the thing that you want to do.
Yes.
Just do it. Just do it now. If there was a course you
Right.
were thinking of doing, just go and do an online course. You
Absolutely.
do what you have to do. You
Absolutely.
make peace with the situation that you're in.
Yes.
It's not going to change. Your
Yes.
first step is make peace with what it is. If this is how it is, the next step will suggest itself. If you're going to say I'm in a bad spot, and this bad spot, when it gets better, I'm going to take the next step, I don't think you'll find you're going to find a way out.
Wise words.
Okay.
Yes. Taking you to the next question.
Go to the next one quickly.
Okay, do you collaborate with external content creators? If yes, how should they get their ideas to you? Yes, we are very keen to collaborate with content creators. I'm going to leave my contact, and you can just ping me and drop your mail. So how do I respond? They can write to me. Sandeep,
We can share it with them.
Bhargavi,
So
what
we
do you
have
think?
all their email
Yeah.
IDs. Yeah, we have their email
Yeah.
IDs.
So
Whatever you want to share,
yeah,
just
so
let us know.
yeah, so you can write to me officially, rahul.balyan@timesgroup.com, and just ping and we'll get in touch.
Sure.
All right, then great to meet you digitally. This is from Viraj. Great to meet you digitally. The biggest spenders in India on digital media are banking, financial services, and insurance, e-commerce. How do you see? So hang on one second. My screen is jumping. How do you see?
No,
Is this
this
going to be
same one.
same or any
Same.
other industries coming up like education and all? And being in the payment domain, how do you see digital marketing education will help us for future endeavors? Yep, there is going to be a big shift and change in the big spenders who are going to be spending. That's obvious. Financial services are going to be under tremendous pressure, over the next few months. Uh, E-commerce, of course, is going to boom. It's going to be the golden age of e-commerce. So all of these guys are going to come back. But banking, financial services might of course be under stress. We know we are seeing it all around us. Uh, so yeah, there's a big churn. Education, we know the story of education. Every kid today is doing home learning. They become experts at connecting and engaging. There are stories of kids who are actually connecting better with information now online than they were probably doing in classes. Certainly they're in a comfortable environment, they're able to connect differently, they don't have as many hangups as we grown-up people have, so they are able to just engage with it as if it's normal. So education is huge. Payment domain again is going to be huge because everything is, it goes hand in hand with e-com. So so there is going to be a huge shift in the way, the kind of industries which are going to come up. I mean, it's obvious. So home living, people are going to stay at home, so they'll invest more in their homes. Working from home anything which supports working from home, anything which supports home cooking, hobbies, health. I think if you just look at your own day, how your day is going today, and you'll realize there are things that you need to do more of. That's where your investments are going to go. So there were some reports, they said the hygiene, India is going to be more hygiene conscious. Yeah, of course it's going to be. We all know what washing hands does. We all know what keeping social distancing does, what spitting in public spaces does. Everybody is hypersensitive about this now, right? So some changes for the good. So yeah, it's going to be it's a new world out there. It's shockingly sudden, but I think the shock and awe, we have to get over it now. We just have to move and do something.
Absolutely. I think there's one more question on the side, not on the ask a question side, but I guess it's about contactless platforms like Amazon, Alexa, Google Assistant, voice apps taking off. So as Mirchi, are you all reaching out to users using these platforms?
Yeah. Go to Alexa, just say open Radio Mirchi and it'll play for you. You'll get some 8 odd stations of Mirchi, which we are streaming live on Alexa. So try that out. So say open Radio Mirchi. It'll give you some options after that. So yeah, we are collaborating. We are open to looking at other platforms. We are platform agnostic. We see ourselves as content creators. We see ourselves as people who have engagement solutions for brands, and we'll go wherever the consumer is. We don't have any hangups on that.
Absolutely.
Let's take a look at polls question.
So, all right. So you had a poll question. Currently, the average 20% is the digital spends by brands on marketing. What will be the contribution post-COVID? All right. So
COVID.
People who seem to win the largest number of votes are, there is a tie actually.
70-30.
So somebody's saying either it's a 60%, 60 digital and 40 traditional, or 30 digital, 30 digital, 70 digital. Okay, it's changed quickly again. So people are voting right now, I guess. So now people are saying 30% digital, 70% traditional. So basically, digital.
Fastest fingers.
So there are. So either it is a 60% digital or it is 30% digital. People seem to think it's not going to be 50 or 80 for sure. So either 30 or 60. Interesting.
So I think 60-40 is not
8 votes.
60-40 seems to be winning. As I said, I am not going to even hazard a guess on it because I have no idea what is going to hit us when we come out of it.
Very true.
So if it is 60, it is 60. If it is 40, it's 40. It's 30. It's 30. We shall adapt to it. And in some of these situations, so they say if you really want to get lucky, I do photography once in a while. So this guy was talking about how do you get a lucky shot? How do you get lucky, and how do you get that brilliant photograph? He says the way to get a brilliant photograph is, or
Keep
to
taking.
get lucky is to,
Yes.
no, not just to keep taking. He says
Yeah.
you don't, if you want to take a landscape, you don't go there thinking that you want to take a landscape. You don't have a perfect landscape in your mind.
Correct.
You go there. Because if you're looking for the perfect landscape, you may miss the little animal or little bird which was next to you, which would have been your brilliant shot. Because you only wanted a landscape, you missed out everything else. So you
Interesting.
become one with the truth. That there's a truth in front of you. There's a camera. You remove yourself from the picture. You remove
Right.
your own thoughts from the picture. You remove your ego from the picture. And when you are one with what is in front of you, and you're consuming truth for what it is, then your reactions are going to be natural. Then your decisions are going to be more in tune with what is needed, rather than
Right.
a preconceived notion of what the decision should be. I don't know what the decision should be. I do know, however, that when I go there, I want my eyes and ears to be open. I want to be aware. I want to be really situated in that situation, and I want to be absorbing everything, and then I'll come to a decision which is the right decision for that environment. I don't know what that right decision is. So to be lucky is to stop expecting some specific outcome. So be one with the truth. These are the big words. But I
Wise
thought it was
word.
quite interesting.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
I think with that, we
Bhargavi, I think
come end of the questions, right?
we are at the questions and end of the session. So, if you want to summarize, and then we can quickly.
Absolutely. So I can't tell you, Rahul, how much I've enjoyed this session. I haven't met you or spoken to you before, but it felt like I've always known you. Because I think
Yes.
what you say is very universal. We all know it somehow. We miss it. Like you said,
Yeah.
you come with your biases. The truth is in front of you. I guess that's something that we've missed out for sure. I
Absolutely.
really like the very positive and the very practical approach. You say that you have no choice but to adapt. So for all the
Yeah.
people who are out there who are still waiting for the tide to turn and are still waiting for the government to issue new orders and are thinking that May 3rd might be the end of it all and your wars are all done with, I think
Yeah.
you have to really start preparing for contingency and to make sure that you survive as a business, your brand, start spending on digital marketing when you have to. Keep the engagement going
Yeah.
with your customers. I think that's very important, especially in this kind of a time when all people want to know is more about what your brand can do for them, and try to reach them not with just numbers and images, but actually with some meaning and value, which is what I thought Rahul was really stressing on. And you gave some really good insight on leadership and mentorship, because I guess how you are as a person is going to really reflect today as how you're going to treat your team and how you're going to be as a leader and take them ahead. So overall, this is something that I take back from this session. I had a wonderful time chatting with you, Rahul. Sandeep, I leave the last words
Thank
to
you
you.
very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
very much.
Rahul.
I think it was.
Thank you for taking out your time, and it's always great to have a chat with you. Always great to have collaboration, connect with you. It has always been there, and I'm sure that people would have taken some really key points, key takeaways from the discussion. And it was great to have you again. And thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. I had a great time as well. All the best to everybody. If there is
Thank you.
something that you heard, if you guys want to reach out, feel free to write in. Feel free to engage. I will just read out my email ID again. It is rahul.balyan, BALYAN, rahul.balyan@timesgroup.com. Write in. We'll connect. We'll see what we can do together.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much,
much.
guys, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Take care.
evening, everybody. And join us for our next session coming on Tuesday. We're talking about brand building. So it's going to be an interesting session. You can find all the details on www.insiderseries.biz. And we'll, of course, be sharing all the creatives and all the promotion stuff with you guys. We send emailers to all of you who've registered with us. So looking forward to a really good session ahead with all of you again. If you have any other questions on any of our series, both Sandeep and I, our handles are there. We're connected to everybody on LinkedIn. On Twitter, you can reach us. You can reach our companies and our brands on Instagram, as well as on Facebook. So with that, wishing all of you a great evening ahead. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you. And good night.